Hey YouTube, Sam here. Well, we're in the upstairs bathroom today and it's time to knock a hole in this wall because this is where I'm going to put our doorway to come into the bathroom here. We got another one that comes in the bathroom off the bedroom that we're going to leave too, so that'll be nice. We figured out we can actually leave that one. We weren't sure if we were going to be able to in the beginning or not, but I think we figured it out where we'll be able to. But anyhow, in the meantime, to get in and out of this bathroom so somebody doesn't have to go through a bedroom, we need to knock a hole right here for a door. I'm going to put it as far to this way as I can, and the first part I need to do is figure out what door am I going to use. I got several of these smaller doors that were originally in the bathroom. We're thinking now we want to have it open in instead of out. We started the other way before, but we're thinking if it'll work, it'll probably be better in, but I'm not sure if the door I have will work that way. We'll have to see. But I do need to figure out what the size of the frame is, and I already know that just by preliminary measurements that I'm going to have to knock out this 2x4 and this 2x4. Now, I personally do not have a problem with doing that and not supporting things because it's not a huge area, but this wall here is a main structural wall. So if you're messing with main structural walls, you really have to be careful of what you're doing. I am going to put a header in here and support it probably more so than I need to anyway, but if you're messing with main structural walls and you don't have enough support, you need to make sure that you have a support on either side of wherever you're cutting a hole or wherever you're taking something out. I have figured out where there is a support here and a support actually right on the other side of this doorway where I'm going to be cutting this hole. So it is very supported in this area, thank goodness. But those are things you need to think about. Is the support going all the way down and down into the floor down below where your structure is supported by. Yet again, I am no expert in anything I do, so if you try something I do and you hurt yourself or your house falls down, I'm not responsible. So you need to do your own research when it comes to structural things. Now, things don't look like they've changed that much, but actually I've torn some stuff out here and kind of cleaned it up a little bit so I can get a better accurate measurement. And I went downstairs, measured the door I have. Unfortunately, here's one of the biggest things about this house. Just this lath and plaster that I'm dealing with adds quite a bit to your measurements of thickness and the drywall and all. It's been kind of a nightmare, to be honest. And so I looked at the frame of the door, and it's like, what, 4 1/4, and the frames that I need for here are almost 6 inches. Yeah, almost 6 inch, well, 5.5 or so. They're quite a bit thicker because of the lath and plaster, which I'm going to try and keep as much of the lath and plaster on the other side of this wall. I'm going to try to cut it as best I can. It probably won't turn out great, but try and do the best I can. And by doing that, I'm going to try and remove these without killing too much over in this area. And I am actually going to try and reuse these, because that's another thing. These 2x4s are actually bigger. They're actual 2x4s. They're a little bigger than your 2x4s you get today. So in the interest of just trying to reuse what I have and actually keep the thickness at least in certain areas, I'm going to try and at least reuse these too. So I'm going to have to cut them with the Sawzall, just cut the nails right at the top there and the bottom and try and get these out. We'll see if that happens. Anyhow, so I came up with a measurement. From right here, I need to be 37 5/8. And how I got that measurement is on the other side of this wall over here. There's another door, and here's the caveat. I almost messed things up. And then I went to look at that door. The door I have downstairs is like a 1/2 inch smaller, so that I can make up in shims and things like that. I'm not too worried about it. I might make this a little smaller. But what I almost forgot about was that in our house we have very thick moldings. They're almost 4 inches thick. So I need to add that total width into here so that I have room here for a a piece of molding. And that's something you do on anything. Doesn't matter how, you're going to have a molding that goes around your door. You need to remember that measurement if you're getting right up against the wall like I am here. So, next thing I'm going to do is actually take the Sawzall and try and carefully bust these out of here. We shall see. Well, I got my Sawzall and I tried this out up above and it worked really great. So now I'm filming, I'm sure it won't. But, I set this. And I have a metal cutting blade on here because I don't want to chop up the wood. I'm just wanting to cut these nails that are holding this into this bottom beam here. But I set it so it's almost, it goes a little past, but it pretty much hits right on that. So hopefully it'll go for us here, and I'll try it out again here. It's not working as well, but it'll work. I got some, there's quite a bit of this concrete, the plaster down here. Okay, so we're all the way through. Now, I'm going to do that to this one here. Well, I got the nails cut down here. Next part is these aren't just going to come falling out like you'd hope. Each one of these pieces of lath has a little nail in it that's holding it on. You know, it's wobbling in there, so it shouldn't be too awful hard. But I know my cut's going to be somewhere in here, so I'm not going to mess with this one right now. I'm going to do all my testing here, because if I bust any of this out, it's not that big a deal. Most of this is going to come out anyway. So I'm going to start out with a hammer. See what I got that off of there. It was no small feat. What I wound up doing was taking this, knocking it in behind there, and then at each one of these I actually kind of went back and forth. Now, obviously, if you're not trying to save some of your wall on the other side, which I am, I mean, we're living in this house the way it is. So I got a family of 4 that has to be able to live here. And I'm trying to just make as little damage and as little dust as I possibly can. So I'm going to have to take this one out. And actually, now that I got that one out and kind of figured out how I want to do it, I've changed my plans. Because that was just kind of difficult, and had I thought about this sooner, I could have made it a lot more easy on myself. But if you were in this boat where you were trying to remove some 2x4s like I am, and you weren't going to cut a big hole in it, then this actually pretty much worked. 2 caveats. As you can see, it didn't come out zero scathed. There's definitely some damage, but there's no way you're going to do any of this without getting damage in places. Another thing is, I didn't think about it, but I got to remove this right here, because although this is going to be removed, I'm going to have to cut it, and I want to reuse, you know, the part that'll work over here. So I do need to remove that before I damage it too much more too. From a break, I left off, I had taken this off, and then I changed my mind how I wanted to do this. Wish I'd have figured this out sooner, but that's alright, neither here nor there. What I did is I actually marked where I'm going to cut the door at across here, and have a pretty good idea of where I'm going to be over here. So I'm going to take the Sawzall and actually just cut right along here. And I know I'm not going to be able to save everything, and I'm going to have to do some work in this anyway on the other side. As far as plaster and sheetrock is concerned. But if I figure if I cut along here, that'll give me a pretty safe bet. The only problem I'm going to have is up here at the top. I'm still going to have to do some angling to try and save that wall best I can. But I think just ate that blade up. Another thing that sucks about sheetrock, darn it, not sheetrock, the lath and plaster. It just destroys blades. And that's probably really hot, so you wouldn't want to set that anywhere where you're going to catch fire. So move this where I can put it in the middle box here. Well, in case you were wondering, this is the other side of the wall here, and in the effort to try and keep some of the dust and debris out, I got plastic, just some plastic I had, taped around this hole here, so it's not going to catch everything, but it did alright, so kept the dust down pretty alright. And there's the first iteration of a hole in the wall here. Couple things. Sam was stupid moments here. Right here when I was going down through stuff. You might not be able to see it. I'm gonna get out of the light here. Alright, you probably won't be able to see it, but this line right here, I nicked the floor with my Sawzall when I came down through here. The other thing, I know this is going to actually come over quite a ways more, so I didn't really make a mistake here, but I could have taken this board off, which I should have done all the way across here, and I would have had a longer board for another place in the house, and I had a shorter board I could have probably used here, but hindsight's 20/20 kind of thing, and I just got in a hurry. The other thing, the floor. I should have probably covered this floor up a little better, or a lot better, thrown a tarp down or something like that. I would highly recommend that. I just, yet again, you get in a hurry and you start doing stupid things, I guess. So, like I said, this is kind of a Sam stupid moment. But anyhow, neither here nor there. I've got quite a bit more done than where I ended that video at. So, in the midst of editing these once again, they're just too long. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this here, cutting the hole in the door. If you want to see how I finished up this frame part here, come back and watch the next one. Alright, this is Sam, Jack of all, Master of none. You all have a good one.